Good evening and welcome to Long Beach Veterans Memorial Stadium, site of high school football. Tonight, the Los Alamitos Griffins kick off their homestand and host the Brea Wildcats. Hi again, everybody. Fritz Pollard, Ron Cluey, John Bowles, happy to have you along for another season as LATV proudly presents high school football. The Los Alamitos Griffins come with a 2-0 record. They blew out Culver City 49-0 in the shutout, but they played the playoff game of their lives early in the season, week 2 against Hart at Hart, and it was a slim victory, 20-17, behind the arm of junior quarterback Jimmy Barnes. And Ron Cluey, when you look at being a junior and leading this offense, and then to add that to being the coach's son, he's doing pretty well so far.
Yeah, he is. I mean, this is a big step up for Jimmy to come in from playing JV last year to varsity now. And I'll tell you, I know from personal experience, John Barnes is a taskmaster with the quarterbacks. He is very tough on them, but I think Jimmy's handling it well. One of the things you're seeing is that last drive, he really stepped it up and took control of the team, and that was critical at that point. He didn't let the pressure get to him, and as Fritz said, that was the equivalent of probably a semifinal CIF game. Keys for tonight for Los Al: get this offense back on track. Get it driving like they did against Culver City. They played a very tough team last week, but there are some things they have to do in order to make sure that they get ready for the next games coming up, and especially for league play. Offense, running game. They had a few good runs, but the big thing is they've really got to establish the power running game. They've got some running backs this year that can really move the ball. Cortez Rice, Randy Estes, and Biggie Smalls, as we call them. Those guys can move the ball through, and they've got the O-line. Pretty much a senior-laden O-line. They've moved in some big young guys, Mike Aguayo on the opposite tackle side, and then Tom Murphy. It's a huge line. They should be able to blow open some holes along with the returning linemen. As far as on the defensive side, Los Al probably has one of the best defenses right now in Southern California. You have 4 seniors on the defensive line. You have 3 guys coming in at linebacker, 2 of whom are seniors. They're brand new this year, but 2 of them actually played as starters at their other schools 2 years ago. And in the backfield, you've got what USA Today considers the best defensive backfield in the United States right now. Randy Estes, Antoine Cason, Jeff Minter, and DJ Dykes, along with Chad Dunn as the nickelback. These guys are fast. They're all being recruited by major D1 colleges, and they're going to be a force out there. This game last year, 56-10 in favor of Los Al. Unless Brea has brought something different, I'm not sure I'm seeing anything different this year.
Well, I'll tell you something. When you look at the defensive setup for Brea, there is some differences, and they return a lot of young men, 10 of them second-year starters.
Yeah, Fritz, Brea is a pretty good organization. They're one of the top teams in the lower levels in division in CIF. But the key tonight, 10 guys back on defense for them this year in their second year. That's going to be the key all year. Every year is a bowl game when you play Los Alamitos. Every team is going to be up, ready to play, because let's face it, this is the top team on the West Coast. Brea is going to be ready to play. This is their bowl game. It's as big as a playoff game was last week in terms of atmosphere against Hart was for Los Alamitos.
Well, and to add to that, you have first-year Coach Prince. Boy, he's got a hands full week 2 playing Los Alamitos. Well, we're going to take our seats upstairs. Do not go away. When we come back, it's the Griffins and the Wildcats coming up.
This edition of the LATV3 Game of the Week is brought to you by the friends and family of the Griffin Football Booster Club. If you're looking for the best barbecue on the planet, you can find it at the Naples Rib Company, serving the Long Beach community for over 20 years. And by
There can be many hurdles to securing a home loan. Credit impairments, income documentation issues, unusual property. At Home Loan Online, we specialize in mortgages with flexible programs and creative options to address whatever financial situation you're in.
At Home Loan Online, we will meet all of your financing needs.
Visit us on the web or in our offices in Seal Beach on Main Street.
By the College Park Mobile in Seal Beach. For all your automotive needs, stop by the College Park Mobile Station. And by
Selman Chevrolet has been North Orange County's volume leader for over 50 years. We start with the lowest prices. We offer a huge selection of brand new Chevrolets and give you world-class service after the sale. Selman Chevrolet on the corner of Custon and Chapman, just off the 55 freeway in Orange.
by Farmers and Merchants Bank, California's strongest bank. Call today or stop by our Rossmore branch on Seal Beach Boulevard. And by the Newport Rib Company, home of the best barbecue on the planet, serving the Orange County community for over 20 years.
It isn't an order or a command. Protocol doesn't require it. The oath of enlistment doesn't refer to it. So why do sailors devote so much time to helping Americans in need? To instituting programs on their behalf? Because when you're in the Navy, you go wherever the battle is.
There are a few things you need to do to make your home safe for you and your family, like setting your water heater at 120 degrees Fahrenheit to prevent burns, and installing smoke alarms outside of bedrooms. If your home was built before 1978, have it tested for lead-based paints. Did I mention proper wiring?
For a free brochure on HUD's Healthy Homes and to learn how an FHA loan can help you buy a home, just call.
HUD and FHA are on your side.
Welcome back to the Vet. Fritz Pollard, Ron Cluey, John Bowles downstairs. Happy to have you along with us as the Griffins return home after 2 weeks on the road and start a 3-game homestand. As you see the respective captains there. Got DJ Dykes there on the end, number 25.
We got John McDaniel, the center. Andrew Espinoza, guard.
Officiating crew this evening is Mr. Davis.
There are officials tonight.
Jeff Minner, safety and wide receiver. And my eyes are telling me number 32, Brian Felling.
Sportsmanship expected the first to the last. Fair enough? You talked to
For the Brea Olinda Wildcats.
92, Chris Cherie. Boy, my eyes are gone, Fritz.
everybody else has that shot. Fair enough?
Waiting the toss there. Explaining good sportsmanship for the Wildcats. You have Patty Hyman there, number 30. Toss is up in the air. And for Los Alamitos, they are going to decline, so be interesting to see what their choice is for the evening, which end they're going to defend. Looks like Los Alamitos will take the southern end zone.
Boy, Fritz, that's one thing that's almost becoming an automatic nowadays. You win the coin toss, you defer.
Absolutely.
I mean, you're seeing it at just about every level except maybe the professional level.
Well, and of course, the thinking is, let's see what the opponent's offense is going to bring to the table. So the Wildcats are going to get things started off here. Actually, week 2 in the high school football season, but for Los Alamitos, it's actually week 3, and there's a story behind that we will get to shortly. Last year, Los Alamitos traveled to Brea to take on the Wildcats and had their way. The final score there, 56-10. And for Brea, they just struggled to get much of anything going. And of course, they didn't know it, but they were playing a Division I championship caliber team. And really not much has changed this year.
No, it's a lot of returning guys from last year's team. If you go through the lineup, you see a lot of names that you said, wow, I saw that playing in that D1 championship game. That's going to be one of the real strengths this year for Los Alos, the number of returning players they have. Although Brea on their side, they're returning quite a few guys too this year. They were a young team last year. But one thing is they did lose their big wide receiver who's now playing basketball up at one of the colleges. And they're going to have to find someone who they can throw the ball to. Even though he did not shine in the Los Al game, he did have a very good season for Brea by the end of the season.
Well, when you look at Brea's defense, you have literally, and John Bowles mentioned it before the game, you've got 10 returning starters. 9 of the 11 players on defense are seniors. So you would very much say that if they're going to bring any kind of competition for Los Alamitos, this would be the year they're going to do it.
Well, especially after being beat 56-10.
Absolutely.
There's got to be some pride running for these guys. They've got to sit there and be saying to themselves, listen, for nothing else than to be able to prove to these guys on the other side of the field that we can play with them, we're going to come out and play hard. But the one thing I've noticed too, Fritz, is that a lot of those returning 10 guys are two-way players. And that is going to tell by the time we get towards the end of the third quarter, and especially in the fourth quarter of the game.
Well, there in your screen on the left-hand side in the white shirts and the dark pants is Coach John Barnes, 25 years at the helm, a record of 221, 70, and 2 ties. Last year they finished 13-1, a perfect 5-0 league record. And of course we all know, in addition to winning the Sunset League title, Division I champions beating Mater Dei at Edison International Field 41-14, and for Los Alamitos they finally got some revenge after all of those Mater Dei defeats in years past.
Yeah, that was kind of a fun game to watch for us, especially after the Mater Dei game a couple of years previously, where it seemed like they were running up the score a little bit. And I've kind of noticed at one point during the game that John was starting to throttle back a little, and then Coach Rawlinson tried a little razzle-dazzle, so Coach Barnes said, well, okay, we'll throw a little bit back at you and we'll score on you.
So many rivalries in high school football, and I'll tell you, Los Alamitos is creating a new one every year, it seems. On the other side of the ball, as we're watching the Los Alamitos starters being called in for their first home game, for Brea, Rob Parents, first-year Century League coach. Last year, Brea finished 3-7, only had 1 victory in league play. That was enough to get them a 5th place finish, and I think they beat El Dorado, if I'm not mistaken. And last week, they started off things well with a victory against Buena Park. The final score there, 37-6. So you've got to have some confidence kicking off the season with a victory, especially coming into a game like this.
Yeah, 37-6 win. That's a good win because that says your offense is clicking. And to have an offense moving the ball well during your first game is a good sign for a coach, because it's always, a typical thing. The defense will be ahead of the offense early in the season. Defense reacts instinctively to the ball. Offense has to run the plan. And the fact that they could put that many points on Buena Park, who's not a bad team at all, they're going to do very well probably this year, says they have some offensive weapons. But then again, there's also a big step up between a Buena Park and a Los Alamitos.
Well, we're just a minute or two away from kickoff. Los Alamitos taking their favorite side of the field away from the fans on the far side, and we are just moments away from this kickoff. We might take a couple of minutes and just talk about what happened before the season even started. The Week 3 game against St. John Bosco was unable to be rescheduled due to a conflict with a religious holiday. And Bosco was unwilling and unwanting to change that game. And, of course, you can draw any conclusion from that you would like. But it really forced Los Alamitos to go out and find a game that they could play before the season started. And they played a Week 0 game against Culver City, and that's why they're 2-0, and Brea is 1-0.
Yeah, in fact, that's pretty interesting. If you read any of the internet boards, it got pretty heated back and forth between the Los Al and St. John Bosco fans. And you talk about teams with rivalries. Los Al and St. John Bosco had a great rivalry going, but a lot of people kind of felt that, Coach Kiki Mendoza finally said, you know what, I'm tired of losing to those guys wearing the red and white, and I'm going to go find another opponent.
We can only assume.
Well, I noticed during the All-Star game that was played for the Shrine game, when Coach Mendoza went up to shake Coach Barnes' hand, he didn't have a very happy look on his face.
Well, we are underway. Brooks Rossman lets it fly, and this is going to be taken in the end zone by Brandon McCain. So that'll come out to the 20-yard line, and Rossman is back to his ways of kicking it deep. Let's look at the offense there for Brea. Your quarterback is Young. Yazdi is your running back. You've got Hyman, the fullback, Fauner, the wide receiver, and there you see the line: McCain, Lawrence, Daly, Barry, Schumacher, Thayer, and Mitchell. Not a bad-looking offensive line there, averaging right in and around the 250 range. So the first play from scrimmage for Brea. Young steps in. They're going to give it quickly, pick up a few. Hyman is the ball carrier. And we'll take a look at defense. That defensive front for Los Alamitos, very strong. Cherie, Leonetti, Filkins, and Dolis, that linebacking core, very strong with Clark in the middle. Radis and Jones, and then of course that secondary you were talking about, Quezon, Estes, Dykes, and Mentor, considered one of the best secondaries possibly in the nation, according to USA Today.
Yeah, and that was James Dolis on the tackle on that last play.
So that'll bring up a second down. Los Alamitos may have moved right over the center there. That may have been Leonetti. Tom Leonetti jumps there, the 5'9", 250 or 15-pound senior, number 95. 3 sacks so far in 2 games, 7 tackles. Not bad for the defensive lineman.
No, Tom Leonetti is a great story. I mean, this is a guy, you know, he's going to be considered too small to play at the college level, but I tell you what, you're not going to see a better defensive lineman out there this year at the high school level. This kid's got a heart like a lion. I mean, he really goes in and just plays all out all game.
Well, and he was all over the field against Hart. It was great to see. He was really making his presence known. So that'll bring up a second down and 1. Brea running that wing T. They're going to fake it. Chris Young goes back, passes it over the middle, intended for Kevin Mitchell, but throws it high, and that'll bring up third down.
Yeah, nice coverage by Anton Quezon on that one. He was on the inside track. In fact, I think if the ball had been probably low enough, Quezon would have been in good position to make an interception. He had a nice interception last week against Hart and stopping one of their drives.
Not a bad outing for Chris Young last week. He was 9 of 16 for 103 yards through 2 TD passes, but definitely running is the strength of Brea, and we probably will not see Chris Young going to the air that often. And Los Alamitos keys all over. Running back there in on the stop, Tom Leonetti and Sean Clark.
Yeah, Sean Clark, nice job. Whoever the lead blocker was on that play, Sean Clark just got to him, knocked him flat back on his behind, and then that set up for the other guys to be free to make the tackle. Good play by Los Al on that defense. One thing that's interesting, too, is Brea's not coming out in much of a wing T set. That was actually a trips left, so kind of an offensive set that Los Al's used to seeing.
Well, and you wonder, maybe was there some midweek changes just to kind of throw Los Alamitos off? Of course, it was interesting to see Hart last week running their version of the wing T after their starting quarterback went out. Greg Wolnick handling the punting duties. Small return there for Los Alamitos. Yeah. Jeff Mentor.
Yeah, about a 7-yard return there. Yeah, I mean...
Let's go ahead and take a look at the offense for Los Alamitos. The junior QB, Jimmy Barnes, backed up by Cortez Rice, and then you have Childs and Gordon, your wideouts, Skandrick and Montoya, the other 2 wideouts, and then that huge line, Rollins, Espinoza, McDaniel, Murphy, and Aguayo. Barnes going right to the air. That is complete on the far side. Poor tackling, breaks away, still on his feet. Great reception. And that is Jeremy Childs, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, number 1, Jeremy Childs, the 6'1", 173-pound junior. And let's take a look quickly now at the defense. Castillo, Thayer, De La Cruz. Schumacher will be replaced by Adam Kennedy Moore. We have Rhodes, McMurtry, Hyman, Rubel, Yazdi, Fonner, and Fullerton, the secondary. And those guys will be getting a lot of action tonight. You can be assured of that. With Jimmy Barnes in the backfield. Rice, they hand off. Picks up 3 on the play.
A little bit of a trap play there. Dan Rollins coming in off the tackle trap.
Ryan De La Cruz in on the stop, number 75 for Brea.
Yeah, I imagine one of the things tonight's game that Coach Barnes is going to want to do is establish the running game. One of the things I noticed last week watching the game on Fox Sports, Cortez Rice was dancing a little bit on when he was doing his runs, and I noticed that Coach Barnes was pretty vocal with Coach Rodriguez about, he wants his backs going upfield.
So Barnes going to the air again. Huge, huge sack by Ryan De La Cruz. And for Los Alamitos' offensive line, and you see Espinoza, they're upset with himself that De La Cruz even got through.
Yeah, he is. He's pretty mad. I mean, that's a block he should have been able to hold. You got to give some credit, though, to Brea's secondary. I mean, they had a nice coverage going on that one. And I'll say the one thing that's been said about Jimmy is he's got very strong arm, great accuracy. He's still working on his mobility a little bit.
Well, and what do you expect from a 6'4", 221-pound quarterback and a junior to add to it? 8:26 here in the first quarter. Brings up 3rd down and 18. Jimmy's going back to the air. Looking. Almost picked off. That ball was intended for Mentor, and great coverage on the play. That's Taylor McMurtry, and boy, that was almost a pick.
Yeah, and this is the thing. Last week that we saw a little bit, LaSalle kind of sputtering a little bit during the first couple of series of downs. But it'll be interesting to see, if they get the train on the track and they start rolling with it. Seeing some good things out here, but they've got to make it continuous.
James Dolis will handle the kicking duties for Los Alamitos, and back for the Wildcats is Brandon McCain. Punt is away. McCain will field this on the 15-yard line, and that'll give Brea their 2nd possession of this first quarter.
Yeah, nice punt by Dolis, about 38-yard punt, fair caught. Basically, no run back allowable on that ball. James has been doing a good job. He's got a strong leg. He did a nice job last year as the punter, and what I saw in the game against Hart, he did a very excellent job there too. That's one of the things I felt helped Los Alamitos out, was the fact that the Los Al punter was able to push Hart deep downfield while their punter was definitely struggling all night long.
Well, and let's take our hat off to Brea. Pretty good first stand there.
Yeah.
And if we were talking at all about that defense, they certainly showed that they are up to the task, but that is just one possession. We'll see how the rest of the evening unfolds. Chris Young steps in for Brea. Going to give it to the first man through, and that has been number 30, Patty Hyman.
Yeah, Leonetti and Filkins in on the tackle on that one. Good job by the D-line to stand up the offensive linemen, close the gaps, not leave any place to run. But I got to agree, Fritz, when you can come out and on your first series you can stop a high-powered offense like Los Alamitos. Like I said, these guys are playing for some pride out here this year. They remember last year.
Number 10, Chauncey Fauner checks in for the Wildcats. Patty Hyman, the fullback, who's had most of the action tonight, 11 carries, 100 yards in his first game, a 9.1 average against Buena Park. He's far less than that tonight, but still, he's their workhorse. That one could be picked off, bounced in the air. That was tipped. In was Chris Rados, and James Dolis at the line may have put a hand on that. Rados almost had the interception.
Yeah, and I tell you, here's the replay on this. What you watch. I mean, this is the thing you teach defensive linemen. Get your arms up for the tip. Watch here. Quarterback goes to throw the ball. Dolis tips the ball. Now watch. Rados coming back for it. Fauner makes a great play here because once the ball's tipped, you can hit anybody on the field. Does a great play by knocking Rados off the ball, but still, great play by Los Alamitos there to knock down that pass.
Antoine Cason also in the vicinity. So we're quickly at a 3rd down and 9 for the Wildcats. Chris Young steps in. Going to the air, they're going to get that out to McCain. Unfortunately, had a little bit of room there, but Los Alamitos closes fast, and none other than Randy Estes and Antoine Cason to hold McCain to a short gain.
Yeah, and I think this is one of the real strengths for Los Al secondary this year is the fact it's the speed of the secondary. These guys, they're not quite yet as fast as what you would see from a college secondary, but they are definitely a step up from your high school secondaries. These guys close quick.
Well, the second possession for Brea ends in a punt, and Greg Woldneck stands in, will punt it away. Back on the 40-yard line for Los Alamitos is Mentor, and that was almost blocked. Mentor's going to get a chance at a return here. No, he lets it go. Wisely so, because the Wildcats were closing quickly. So for Los Alamitos, they take advantage of the great field position set up by the previous punt, and now will take over with a decent position on the field of their own. And Jimmy Barnes will come out and see if he can't get something going in the second possession. 6:30 left here in the first quarter. Beautiful night for football. Low 70s, much different weather than they're having out on the East Coast in North Carolina. Holy mackerel. Hurricane. There's a run up the middle, lots of room. This could be a touchdown. Number 2, Cortez Rice, the 6'2", 202-pound junior, stopped by Chauncey Fauner, number 10, one of the players going both ways for the Wildcats. And boy, that line opened up. And wow, what a hole that Rice ran through.
Yeah, great hole opened up by the line, but I don't know if we can get a replay on this. Okay, let's watch the replay. Watch the tail end of this replay. You see what I'm talking about Rice is dancing. Great hole there. He breaks out. He's got Espinoza in front of him. He's got Rollins in front. Then he gets a nice seal on the outside. Now he's got Fauner on the open. What does he do? Instead of trying to run past him, he tries to juke him. You don't do that in that situation. You keep your speed going.
Barnes going to the air, looking for that little corner route. Jumps in the air. Let's see. Out of bounds, intended for Jeremy Childs. First game of the season against Culver City. That went for a touchdown in the corner.
Yeah, and you can tell the Brea coaches have done their homework because that was kind of a little hitch to a out pattern there, and then Jeremy took off upfield. Both the corner and the safety did not bite on that hitch. They did a nice job of staying with the pattern.
There you see the coaching staff of Brea. Pretty good game plan so far. Inside handoff, and hit the hole and then backed out of it is Cortez Rice. And you know, Ron, I pick up on something you had mentioned. I was on the sidelines at that Culver City game, and they actually pulled Cortez Rice and put in Estes because they weren't happy with the way that he was hitting the hole. Be interesting to see if they maybe pull him again. I know they've been working on getting him to drive upfield.
Yeah, it's one of the things, I mean, because it's a hard thing to teach. Everybody thinks they can dance, they can juke around somebody, but you know what? If you're going fast, you give very little time for the defense to tackle you.
Jimmy Barnes coming up with third down, throws it there over the middle. That's to Brian Gordon, and he's still on his feet, breaking tackles, and there's a touchdown.
Great second effort by Brian Gordon. Very nice little quick slip screen by Losal. Great second effort by Brian Gordon there.
Brian Gordon, 6 foot 2 inch, 183-pound senior, and I'm telling you what, after the first 5 yards, Brian did that all on his own.
Yep, here you see the classic Losal slip screen comes across the middle. He's got lead blockers in front of him. Nice job by Aguayo there on the guy. Here comes Fauner up, and then again, nice move there. Then he just breaks the tackle and goes in for the score. And I tell you what, that was Johnny Yazdi trying to make the tackle there, but just didn't have it.
Brooks Rossman punches it through. That is good. So before you know, with 5:27 left here in the first quarter, Los Alamitos jumps out to a 7-0 lead. And on the brilliant running after reception, Brian Gordon breaks 2 significant tackles. Most receivers you'll see in high school would have been down on the first one. He keeps fighting.
Yeah, and it's nice to see Brian back this year. Last year he was doing great on the JV. The coaches were getting ready to pull him up to the varsity, and then he suffered 2 concussions in 2 weeks. And his family looked at it, and his doctor advised him to take the year off because he was starting to show post-concussive syndromes, and they were worried that, you know, he might have any potential damage to him. It was very tough for Brian. I know I saw him at all the pregame meals and everything else, you know, and I mean, you knew he wanted to be out there. He was dying to play, but I'm glad to see he's getting the opportunity this year.
Well, Brea will get another opportunity on offense. Back deep is Brandon McCain and also James Kine.
Okay, let's see.
Rossman will let it fly from the 40-yard line.
Yeah, let's see if he drives it deep on this one. Oh, nice kick.
McCain will only be able to take this one in the comfort of his own end zone. So Rossman really becoming consistent in taking that return away from the opponent.
Yeah, I tell you, that's one thing that I think coaches probably had a little concern about this year was who was going to be the kicker, because with Kevin Gamarnik graduating last year and now up at UCLA as a walk-on, there really wasn't anybody that they saw coming up from the JVs that had any leg strength. And they were real concerned, and I mean, to tell you what, when it rains, it pours. You develop a national reputation. Brooks Rossman's father got transferred up to this area of Southern California from San Diego and said, well, let's look at Los Al. Sounds like it's a good school.
Handoff, this is going to be a keeper by Chris Young. Fools absolutely nobody. In on the stop is James Dolis and Tom Leonetti for the Griffins.
Yeah, and Dolis does a real nice job here on the option play. One of the things that they always try to teach the defensive ends is that when you have option or pitch coming at you, as a defensive end, your job is to penetrate about 2 yards into the backfield and stop, because you have to wait and see for the play to develop. Tommy Leonetti got a good drive, got into the play. Dolis stood right there, did his job, and they got a nice tackle on the quarterback for about a 2-yard loss.
That'll bring up a 2nd down and 12. They're going to give it to the first man through, and that is Patty Hyman, and fights forward for a decent gain.
Yeah, nice 7-yard gain there.
James Dolis in on the stop for the Griffins.
Yeah. Dolis, Randy Estes,
You get the feeling, though, Ron, that the Wildcats are going to have to get a little bit more creative than this, because Los Alamitos is going to sniff this thing out, and unless they can go to the air and catch Los Alamitos somewhat off balance, it could be a long night.
Yeah, because part of the thing, too, I think Los Al's looking at it with the speed they have in their defensive backfield. They're going to play man up. They're not going to play zone or, too deep on these guys. So they're going to play pretty much man up on these players, and they're going to force them to come at them.
Chris Young steps in. He's going to go to the air. Intended for number 21. Number 21 is Tommy Cervantes.
Yeah, another high pass there. Good job by the defensive line, again, getting their hands up. Like I said, they came out with trips left, tried to come out with a little bit of a packed formation to overload the cornerback on that side. But when you have guys that can close to the ball that quick, they can cover a lot of territory.
Well, and you can see Chris Young isn't terribly comfortable in the pocket, and I wouldn't be either with some of those horses coming at you. That'll bring up 4th down and 5. Mentor stands back on his own 38-yard line. Actually, they've done a good job trying to get it away from him, but Mentor's going to have an option at a return here. Gets a decent run out of it, gets across the 50-yard line.
Nice 16-yard return by Jeff Minter. Kind of interesting. Coaches dropped Randy Estes back about midway in order to set up as a blocking back for him. I've got to say, Brea's punter's doing a real good job.
Very nice.
Not only is he putting the ball up there and giving his guys time to get downfield, he's also angling it away from the returner so that, it's a little bit tougher when you have to go off to the side to try and catch the ball than when you're able to catch it coming straight at you. Good job by Brea on those plays.
3:47 left here in the first quarter. 7-0. Los Alamitos on top. Jimmy goes under center. Going to hand it to Cortez Rice. And boy, good job to Brea. They are right in and close that hole in on the stop. The lead tackler, number 11, the linebacker, Taylor McMurtry.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that Brea is not reading something in Los Al's backfield with the set, because they're bringing about 7-8 men in the box on that between the tackles, and they're just stuffing all the holes. And I tell you what, I don't care how good your offensive line is. When 5 guys got to block 7 guys, somebody's going to be open.
Well, and Cortez Rice takes a spot on the side, so they're bringing in now number 42 for the Griffins, and that's Dan Small.
Yeah, Biggie Smalls.
You said it. Little swing screen out there. Maybe picked up 2 on the play. They got that out to Orlando Scandrick. In on the stop again is Taylor McMurtry. So that'll bring up now let's see, the scoreboard says
it's about 3rd and 9.
Yeah, 3rd and 1 is what they show on the scoreboard, which is not correct. So 3rd down and 9, and again, the adjustments on the sideline for the Wildcats proving to be successful as they've got Los Alamitos in a good position, but this one's going to be in the air most likely. Yep, they're going to give it to Biggie Small, and he slips at the line. So Los Alamitos still trying to get their running game started. The best ground attack we've seen so far is when Brian Gordon took the pass and looked beautiful in the open field, but the ground game's struggling here in the early going against Brea.
Yeah, and that's when you would expect it, because there was only a 4-man rush that time, so there should have been an opportunity to open some holes on that.
They send Brandon McCain back for the Wildcats. He stands on his 6-yard line, and Dolis is going to let it fly. McCain decides to let this go, and it
beautiful punt by Dolis.
About the 4-yard line, or maybe they'll give it the 5.
Yeah, beautiful pump by Dolis on that one. Angled it right for the sideline, took the hit and kicked right out. Boy, that's one that you want to remember.
Dolis has been averaging 39 yards, has a 48-yard long on the season.
Yeah, now one thing I've got to say, Brea is playing pretty well right now, considering the fact that their average starting field position has been somewhere around between the 10 and the 5-yard line, and Los Al's been starting between the 40 and the 50. A lot of kicks going back and forth. This is one thing you have to see, is Los Al going to get that offense in gear and really start scoring?
Chris Young brings his Wildcats to the line. He's going to go to the air, has McCain open. In fact, the most open receiver he's had all night, and we've got someone down. Let's see who that is in the end zone. Looks like one of the offensive linemen, number 72. That's Eric Schumacher
Yeah, it looks
Bonner checks in, number 10 for the Wildcats. They usually look to him as a receiver.
Yeah, that was a nice little skinny post route that Brea ran there, and I mean, he was wide open. Surprised the QB, Chris Young, did not hit him on that, because that's about as good a route as you're going to get.
Well, not only that, but it's 2nd and 10, you're deep in your own territory. That would have gotten the ball out to around the 20-yard line. So Chris Young is going to give it up the middle. This is Patty Hyman fighting for extra yardage. The scouting reports noted Patty, number 30, as the best player on the team. In on the stop for the Griffins is number 44, Matt Garrett.
Yeah, nice play off tackle there for Brea. You know, they're showing some flashes. I mean, it's a couple plays, you know, they'll get something going with their running game, but then Los will come back and, you know, shut them down. Right now you've got about 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3. Critical play for Brea. I mean, you can't punt on this one. They've got to try and get a first down if they're going to make something happen.
Nice pickup there of 8 by Patty Hyman. They fake it. Chris Young's going to keep it. Question is, did he have enough and get across the 15-yard line? Chris Rados in on the stop for the Griffins.
And they're signaling first down.
Well, right when Brea needed something to happen, they missed the little crossing pattern there, but come back with a nice run. And then the quarterback taking care of business on his own, Chris Young, 6'2", 195-pound senior.
Yeah, that's some decent size for a high school quarterback. And I believe that's Brea's first down of the game.
I think you're right. Ball sits on the 15-yard line, fresh set of downs for the Wildcats. Maybe they can start to open things up a little bit. Chris Young steps in. Going back to the air. A little bit of pressure, and McCain maybe got back to the original line of scrimmage.
That's if he gets a good spot from the ref. I think he's going to be maybe about a half a foot back. I'll tell you what, Jeff Minter, just great coverage on that play. In fact, Minter looked like he was going to try and go for the interception on that, and then thought just a little bit about it and said, no, I'm not quite there, but I'll just make a nice tackle on him. Again, great coverage by Losell. A lot of good speed in the backfield.
And that is the end of the first quarter. Before you know it, the score, Los Alamitos 7, the Brea Wildcats nothing. However, Brea starting to see something moving in their direction here as we start the second quarter.
Yeah, I think the thing with Brea is that they're just going to have to keep trying to go for the, the 4 and 5 yard gains, not try to get too fancy. I mean, the only way it looks like right now they're going to get any kind of long downfield play is if there's a busted play. Los Al's secondary is doing a great job of covering their receivers. But what I'm seeing is that their O-line is, they're sealing off a little bit. They're getting some outside holes available. Although I have a funny feeling that Coach Scheer will look at something at halftime and he's going to bring one of those safeties up.
Coach Barry Scheer, a legend in our area here. If you're a Los Alamitos faithful, was the offensive coordinator, credited along with John Barnes of bringing in this kind of West Coast style offense to high school. Ironically enough, taken from the Hart High School playbook. Some will tell you, of course, probably Coach Barnes would not. He'd probably say this was all of his own doing, but when they moved Barry Scheer over to defensive coordinator, that defense really shored up and looked sharp.
Yeah, first quarter, Brea, two passes completed for 6 yards. 2 passes completed for 2 yards, 2 of 6.
Chris Young fakes the handoff, going to get the ball out on the far side to Fonner, and we have a penalty. This ought to be interesting. It seemed to happen in the back near where the quarterback was, but you had nothing but offensive linemen back there.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. You have 3 Brea linemen, you have 1 Los Al defensive lineman, and no QB in the area.
Yeah.
Maybe it looks like, it looks like they're picking up the flag. Nice job by Young on that pass play because there was, again, tight coverage on that play and threw it to the outside. Okay, what we got just word was that it was roughing the passer, but since it was a first down, they're going to elect to go ahead and move the ball up.
Well, I'll tell you what, that is a huge penalty, and if Brea needed a break, they certainly got it with that penalty. 11:44 left in the first half of play, and that moves the ball up to now the 44-yard line. Brea, their best field position of the game. Chris Young going back to the air. Big-time blitz by Los Alamitos. Leading in on that was the middle linebacker, number 52, Sean Clark.
Yeah, nice job there coming in on a speed blitz on the outside. I think Mr. Young heard footsteps on that one because he certainly got rid of the ball a little bit quicker than you would have expected. I'll say one thing, though, with Brea finally getting close to midfield and with the nice job their punter's been doing, even if they possibly have to punt on this series, they're going to put Los Al deep in their own territory.
Well, last year a 56-10 thrashing at the hands of the Griffins, and so far you'd have to say that this one is going as well as it could be expected for Brea. So Chris Young steps in, 2nd down and 10. Chris Young's going to keep it, has a little bit of a room, more room than he's had all night. Gets the ball out to the 50-yard line, and in on the stop is Randy Estes and DJ Dykes.
Yeah, nice play by Brea on that one. A little bit of a quarterback keeper with an option toss out there to the running back. Plus he had a receiver in the area, and that makes it tough because if the DBs try to come up and he hasn't crossed the line of scrimmage, it's a little 6-yard flip over the top to a receiver who's wide open. So that's a nice little set of play there by Brea to pick up about 6 yards on that play.
Well, that'll bring up 3rd down and 4. Clock continues to run. Still early in the 2nd quarter, and Brea has a slight bit of momentum going. Chris Young comes to the line, and there they've got that trips line, so right through the middle. No chance. Tom Leonetti, 3 sacks in 2 weeks. You can add another one to that. 5'9", 215-pound senior, and he slipped through a small opening there and surprised Chris Young.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Leonetti was told the snap count because, man, is he quick. And I tell you, that's one of the things about Tommy. He's quick off the ball. As soon as the center starts moving the ball, Tom's moving with it. And that's a real asset for a defensive lineman. Okay, let's see what Brea does on this punt. They have an opportunity to pin Los Al deep if they can get a good one off.
Mentor back for the Griffins stands on his 17-yard line.
Oh, that's a beauty.
Another nice punt. Oh, and this will be a great down for, looks like about the 8-yard line for the Wildcats.
Yeah, beautiful punt by Brea on that one. Absolutely great punt.
Greg Woldneck, 6'1", 185-pound senior, averaging 32 yards a punt, as long as 33, and he has put on a real show tonight.
Yeah, he must have eaten his Wheaties today because I tell you what, he's doing a very nice average. Los Al's now pinned inside their 10-yard line. This is one where the Griffins got to show that they can move the ball.
In the backfield is Rice. We'd seen him come out. Jimmy Barnes from the shotgun. They're going to give it to Rice straight up the middle. Bowls his way through. Petty Hyman in on the stop for the Wildcats.
Yeah, nice 5-yard gain. This is just basically what's called an A-gap drive. You know, you go between the center and the guard, let the big boys push them out of the way, and just bowl forward for 5 yards. Not real fancy, but I tell you what, you eat up a lot of time with this.
That'll bring up 2nd down and 5 for the Griffins. Barnes going to the air. That is complete to Brian Gordon. Gets enough for the 1st down and then some.
Yeah.
6'2", 183-pound senior.
Yeah, again, nice job by Jimmy Barnes there. Looks for Brian Gordon. Does a quick 5-yard up the field, stops in the flat area. Patty Hyman making the stop on that. And then Gordon doing a nice job gaining yards after the reception. 2 guys coming up on him, but he gives a little move, spins around, and then just keeps driving forward to pick up about another 4 or 5 yards.
1st and 10 for the Griffins. Barnes from the shotgun. Fakes it to Rice. He's going all the way, and he has Childs all by himself. All he needs to do is run under it. Now it's a foot race. Touchdown, Los Alamitos. Jeremy Childs, how he got open. Let's look at the replay. Maybe he came off the bench.
Yeah, I got to look at this one because, wow, that's not just busted coverage. That is no coverage. Let's watch this one. Let's see what happens here. Who bites? Okay, there's Childs on the outside on the left. Okay, we don't see it. Wow. You know, Fritz, I got a feeling Childs lined up way outside and nobody lined up on him. They lost sight of him. because that is just amazing he was that wide open, especially when you consider he is one of the key receivers for Los Alamitos.
David Fullerton, the only Wildcat even close. Rossman with the kick, that is good. So we are 14-0 before you knew it. And, you know, here you look at the Wildcats, and they were doing a pretty good job. They'd pinned Los Alamitos deep, somewhat had them where they wanted them, and then to let that happen takes all your momentum.
Yeah, it is. That can kill a team because, you know, you've done a lot of good things on your team. Your guys are getting some momentum going. You know, they're starting to feel good about themselves, and then it's like you make one mistake. And when you got the caliber of players that Los Alamitos has this year, you know, that's a big mistake to make. Although I've got to say, I was pretty impressed with Mr. Fullerton's foot speed there.
Yeah, he was closing quickly.
Yeah.
Of course, he's probably thinking about the films tomorrow. He had to close on something in order to get a little respect back.
Well, actually, I would say that probably wasn't Fullerton's responsibility on that coverage since he's his safety. I'd like to know maybe it was Johnny Yazdi or Justin Rubel because that was the corner's position to cover on that one. Okay, passing for Los Al, 5 of 7 for 117 total. Pretty good stats for right now.
Back deep for the Wildcats, McCain. And on the far side, get your number here in just a moment. Sean LaBarrere, is that on the far side there?
It's hard to tell, I can't see the numbers.
8:49 left here in the first half.
Hey Fritz, we got Fox doing the game tonight? What, TV timeout? Oh, okay, our producer just told us there's live radio tonight and they get a radio timeout. Okay, KWRM, we think they're somewhere up in the Brea area, and they're doing a live radio broadcast of the game tonight for the home folks up there.
So back on the far side is Sean LaBarrere, also their kicker, so not always common sight to see your return man also handling your kicking duties, and then number 4, Brandon McCain.
Yeah, those guys are usually considered pretty delicate guys. Well, coaches don't like them being near the real football players.
Well, and you don't want any grass stains on the uniform either.
That's right. They got to look good on that sideline.
This will be an important series for the Wildcats as they want to get something on the board before the halftime break. Because like you said, when Los Alamitos coaching staff gets together and strategizes at halftime, they'll normally shut things down.
Yeah, they did a great job last week against Hart of coming up with a strategy to shut them down. Hart doing the running game early on. I think Los Al just, no one would believe that Hart would go to a running attack. I mean, that's just not something that you expect and plan for. Nice job by the Harrington brothers to do that plan. But then Los Al picked up on it, put 4 men back on the defensive line, and basically shut down the run game for Hart for the rest of the game.
Looking at next week for Los Alamitos, taking on La Habra, but again, that will be in 2 weeks because of the...
And next week is the bye week, and I'll tell you what, La Habra is going to be a tough game.
Well, and if you were to say in advance if there was a blessing in disguise to give Los Alamitos a game before Hart and then a bye week before La Habra, maybe there's something to be gained from having Bosco not be flexible in that week 3 rescheduling attempt.
Great kick by Rossman on that one out of the back of the end zone, and that's probably one of the reasons why a lot of schools are talking to that young man right now.
Comes from Torrey Pines High in San Diego.
Yeah, Torrey Pines, a small school power down in the San Diego area. And they've had a tradition of some great kickers. Guy at University of Michigan spent 4 years, and he's now in the pros. And for the life of me, I can't remember his name.
Well, for Brea, with 8:49 left here in the first half, down by 14, Chris Young steps in. They're going to Patty Hyman, and that has not worked all night, right into the heart of that defensive line of the Griffins.
Yeah, and I've got to say, you got to give Cameron Filkins a lot of credit. I tell you what, he's a big guy in there. He's about 6'7", 295 pounds, so actually 6'5", 295, and he has taken on 2 to 3 men at one time on that. And basically, his job is just fill a hole, force a lot of guys to block on him, and free up for the rest of the guys to make tackles. You won't see Cameron with a lot of tackles, but what you'll see is he's doing a great job as a defensive tackle.
Things happen. Very good. Well, that'll bring up a 2nd down and 10 for Chris Young and the Wildcats. That wing formation, McCain in motion. They're going to give it to McCain, and all over him is Leonetti. And that's all it took. In on the stop.
Josh Jones on that one.
Josh Jones, and Leonetti was the one pursuing and kind of foiled that whole thing.
Again, you see Tommy Leonetti just so quick off the snap. I mean, I'll swear he knows the snap count for these guys because he's blowing right by the guy that's across from him, gets into the backfield, running back gets the handoff, and now he's already looking at a red shirt coming at him, has to change the play, and then Josh Jones releases, comes up, makes a nice tackle. Just good play by Los Al on that all around.
3 sacks in 2 games for Tom Leonetti. He's made his presence known tonight. 7 tackles before tonight's game. 3rd down and 11. Chris Young going to go back to the air. And, oh, nice catch.
Wow, great catch by number 21.
Tom Cervantes. And that ball didn't look too pretty in the air, but doesn't matter. Tom Cervantes runs under it.
Yeah.
And nice 1st down pickup there by Wildcats.
Here's the replay coming up on this. There you watch. Good job of creating a pocket there. That's about as ugly a duck as you want to see, but you know what? Once you catch it, it turns into a swan.
You know what? Great catch, though, by Cervantes. 6 foot, 160-pound senior to keep this drive alive for Brea. Going to give this one right back up the middle. Sean Clark in on the stop, and that's got to be Patty Hyman, first man through, and he is struggling. To think that he averaged 9 yards last week a carry, this has got to be frustrating. He's probably averaging at best a yard a carry tonight. Not much running room.
Yeah, well, and that's part of the difference. I mean, you play at Buena Park, you don't have this big line. I mean, this is basically Los Al's returning defensive line from last year. A year older, a year stronger, and a year bigger. And it's a huge difference. I mean, these are the guys that, you know, were a key part of winning the D1 championship last year, and they're back for more.
Pickup of 1 on the play. Fakes it. Young is going to keep it.
Again, Tommy Leonetti.
Right where he needs to be for the Griffins.
Yeah, that was a nice little twist play by the defensive lineman on that side. Cherie lined up outside as a defensive end, Leonetti in as the tackle, and then immediately what happens, Leonetti takes 1 step forward and then slides to his right, and Cherie twists in behind him to make the drive play, and then all of a sudden there's Leonetti standing right there waiting for someone to come at him.
5:43 left in the first half. 3rd down and 7. So again, the Wildcats looking at a long yardage situation to keep this drive going. Chris Young steps in. He's going back to the air. Big time pressure. Gets it off to McCain. McCain has a little bit of running room, but fights off a block. Huge play on the far side. Randy Estes fights off Patty Hyman, who was there to clear the way, and McCain gets lit up.
Yeah, it was a nice
play.
Josh
Jones also in on that.
Yeah, nice play for Brea on that. Picked up about 7 yards, but still leaves them about 1 yard, 1.5 yards short of the first down. So now it's decision time. No, they're going to send the punter on the field. Yeah, Randy Estes does a nice job. I mean, you got a lead blocker in front of you. You got pretty much an open field. You expect you got a shot at making the first down, and all of a sudden Estes just does a little sidestep here, a little dance there, and next thing you know, tackle.
Special player. 4th down and 2. Mentor steps back for the Griffins. He stands on his own 17-yard line, and the kick is away by Woldneck. Oh my gosh, and Mentor.
Oh boy, this could be huge.
Looks like it's going the Wildcats' way,
yes,
and it is.
Wow, this is a huge play. I tell you what, you got to give this punter a lot of credit. Boy, he put that ball up there and gave his team an opportunity.
Anisic in on the fumble recovery, number 18. He had 2 interceptions last week against Buena Park. And Mentor, very sure-handed, had a lot of time to think about this as it was coming down.
Let's watch the replay. Watch the ball coming down. It's hard to tell here. Okay, yeah, he comes off his shoulder pads. One thing I'll say is that everybody likes to see the big, long, spiraling punt. Actually, the toughest punt for these guys to catch is the wobbler, because when it's coming down, they don't know where it's going. It actually acts a little bit like a knuckleball.
Well, and you can see that nice pass over the middle, and Brea gets on the board. McCain with the touchdown. Chris Young took a huge hit, but was able to get that ball off. Congratulations to Chris Young for hanging out in the pocket. Hits McCain on the little crossing pattern. Randy Estes laid the wood on Chris Young and immediately capitalizing on the turnover.
Yeah, nice play by Brea there. Run a guy right up the middle on a little bit of a post pattern, then he cuts out, get the ball to him, and then he does a great job running through 2 defenders to get to the end zone.
Laba Ayers steps in for the extra point. Ball down, kick up, and before you know it, 7 quick points on the Mentor turnover. So Brea hanging in there, not the team they were last year.
And this is one thing, I mean, it's an old saying, but, you know, turnovers kill you. I mean, you look at any game, when they get tight in a situation, you look at last week's game. Anytime Hart was making some drive in the second half, they'd have a turnover, stop them. Here, Los Al doing a good job against Brea. You think that the momentum's starting to turn. Los Al will get the ball back, make another big drive downfield. You have a fumble on a punt. Brea now is in the game, 14-7.
Well, and first-year coach Rob Parents wasted no time in a gutsy call. He goes right to the air to strike. So for the Wildcats, they changed the outlook of this game. 4:23 left on the clock before halftime. And for Los Alamitos, you know that they're drawing up something in the sand that says, let's get another score out of this thing and kind of redeem ourselves.
Yeah, and what'll be interesting here is to see what Brea does on this kickoff. There's some real speed back there for Los Alamitos. You got Cortez Rice, you got Randy Estes, Chad Dunn, Anton Kaysen, Jeff Minner, I mean, DJ Dykes. You got some guys that can flat out run back there. And if their kicker doesn't put it in deep, there's a good chance of a run back here.
This is going to be taken by number 22, Chad Dunn, on the far 5-yard line. He has a little crease following Randy Estes in about a half step from breaking into the wide open. Boy, Randy Estes is like a locomotive out front, just clearing the way.
Yeah, great job there. And then, like I say, about a 32-yard run back on that ball. Nice job by Dunn there. And again, he's a member of Los Al's track team. Had a great season last year. Part of that squad that went to the state for the 4x100-meter relay team. And worked hard over the summer in the weight room. And it's showing out here.
Well, the Griffins, 1st and 10, 4:17 left in the first half, will start at their own 35-yard line. Jimmy Barnes still has the ball. They ran this play against Hart. It slides forward just across the first down marker, and it ain't pretty, but it works.
This is one of those plays that kind of gives offensive and defensive linemen hope that they can actually be receivers. Jimmy's a great QB, great young man, but, you know, I don't think there's a coach on the Los Al team that would say Jimmy's going to win a track record anytime soon. But you know what? Because nobody expects him to run.
Absolutely, and it was so great last week against Hart when he tucked that in and went in for the touchdown. Nobody on that field thought he was going to get the call. So it's good for 1 call per game. Gets this one out to Skandrick, and Los Alamitos picking it up a little bit after the turnover.
Yeah, nice.
Chauncey Fonner, and Justin Rubel in on the stop of Skandrick, but you feel a little momentum change here.
Nice little mix-up of plays here. You know, you start off with a quarterback naked bootleg out to the left side, then a quick slant out to the right side. This is the thing that Coach Barnes has been talking about. Los Al needs to develop a rhythm. The plays need to click, click, click. You can't always count on having somebody make a misplay and having your receiver wide open. You need to get your offense to be consistent and know that you can score when you want to score.
Well, and this is what's going to come through maturity for Jimmy Barnes as he gets a better feel of this team. And no better way to do that than to air one out. Nice pass right off of the fingertips of number 3, Brian Gordon. And I'll tell you, there is no doubt about the arm strength of Jimmy Barnes.
Yeah, Jimmy's got a fantastic arm. I mean, he can really air it out. In fact, the word was at the Notre Dame camp that he attended this summer, the coaches there felt that he probably had one of the strongest arms of all the quarterbacks they were looking at, which included a lot of seniors that are being recruited this year. Other thing I'll have to say, too, Los Al's O-line's doing a heck of a job here. I mean, Jimmy is getting protection. And, in fact, in the Hart game, I don't remember him being sacked once. Against the game against Culver City, I didn't have a chance to see it, but I did not read any stats that he was sacked in that game either.
Now, we've got a penalty on the play, and they are going to mark that off against Los Alamitos. The other piece on Jimmy Barnes, what touch as he tossed that ball with a nice arc on it and let Brian Gordon run under just off the fingertips, but it probably wouldn't have mattered anyway.
Yeah, this one's coming back. It's interesting to see that Brea's even trying to think about whether they're going to make a call on this one as to whether they want to take the penalty. I mean, it's probably holding because that's typically what you have in a long pass play like that. But, you know, Los Al at 3 and 5 or 2nd and 15. I don't know. Yeah, finally they decide, yeah, they're going to take the penalty, and that's the right thing to do. Okay, 2nd and 10, so 5-yard penalty.
3:06 left in the first half. 3 penalties for 25 yards.
For Los Alamitos, that's not going to make Coach Barnes very happy.
Jimmy's going to keep it. He's going to do it again. He has a little bit of running room. Oh, takes a hit there as he slides down by Fauner. And I'll tell you, Jimmy Barnes, we saw against Hart, maybe takes an extra step before he starts that slide, and these defensive backs are going to take an opportunity to lay one on him. But a gutsy move by the 221-pound quarterback.
Yeah, good move by Jimmy. I mean, he's not afraid to run out there. But you're right. At some point, you got to say, okay, you know, you got to give up 1 yard in order to make sure that someone's not going to clean your clock.
That'll bring up 3rd down and 4. Clock continues to run. We are under 2.5 minutes. That's out to Jeremy Childs. And the clock will continue to run as Childs did not get out of bounds.
Yeah, but great pass by Barnes there. Looks like Childs might be stretching his legs out just a little bit. Great pass by Jimmy Barnes there. I mean, he just rifled that ball over there. Just beautiful. And that's what you've got to do on the quick outs like that. You can't lob the ball because you've got too many DBs in the area. You've got to fire it. And did a nice job on that.
Justin Rubel and Taylor McMurtry in on the stop for the Wildcats. That's enough to move the chains for the Griffins. Barnes going right back to the air, picking it up. That one a little high for Brian Gordon. But Barnes definitely picking things up a little bit. You like the quickness with which he rears back and throws.
Yeah, I think it's to Los Al's advantage to pick up the pace. I mean, a lot of these guys on the D-line and in fact in the secondary and the linebackers for Brea are going both ways. Pick up the pace, get more plays in against them. The other thing I'll say too, though, Brian Gordon, hey, you know, guy, it's the rule is if you're a receiver and the ball hits your hands, there's only one acceptable result.
And we don't have to say what that is. Yeah. 2:04 left in the first half of play. Los Alamitos on a drive. They give it right up the middle. A nice defensive stand as Cortez Rice is thrown down by Mike Castile, the 6', 221-pound junior.
Yeah, if we can get a replay on this one, there is definitely something developing on the Brea defensive line. They're seeing something back there. Hopefully we can focus in on the replay on what happened on the line play because this is about the 4th or 5th time. Yeah, you see, they just bring them in. They fill the gaps. In fact, they're bringing the defensive end actually in from the outside on that play. They're bringing in another body to fill the middle and then moving that defensive end outside. Smart play by Brea.
3rd and 13 for the Griffins. Quick out to Jeremy Childs, and great coverage by Brea on the outside as Justin Rubel and Taylor McMurtry come in again and really contain Childs. Normally that's a big pickup for the Griffins because they've got such great skills after the catch, but boy, they really boxed him in. Great play calling there by the defensive coordinators of the Wildcats.
Yeah, nice job by Brea there in order to have the cornerback and safety close in on that play. No doubt here, Coach Barnes is going to go for this one.
Absolutely. With 1 minute even on the clock, only up by 7. And I say that when you compare last year at halftime, and I don't know what the score was, but Los Alamitos was well ahead at halftime break. In fact, I think we started seeing the reserves by midway through the 3rd quarter, and they were scoring on Brea.
Yeah, it was, in fact, I think I remember at that game, we were even questioning possibly whether Coach Barnes was going to let the first-team offense, come out and play for the first series in the second half because the game was pretty much already well in hand, but it is a tradition of his that no matter what the score is, the first-team offense always gets the first series in the second half.
Well, and they're going to need it all tonight because this Brea defense has come to play, and of course we have talked about that. It was obvious when you looked at the scouting charts that 2-year starters were sprinkled all throughout that defensive line and secondary. 9 of these young men are seniors.
Yeah, and the thing to remember, too, is 2 years ago, this was a school that was a division champion.
Yep.
So they have some tradition on their side, too.
1 minute left to play in the first half. Wideouts are split. Jimmy's going back to the air. Flushed out of the pocket. Will he keep it and go? He will. And again, a great stand in on the stop for the Wildcats is Chris Rhodes.
Yeah, but I tell you what, you got to give credit on this one to the Brea secondary. Absolutely great coverage on their part. Jimmy had good time back there, about 4 or 5 seconds in order to throw the ball, but look downfield, everybody was covered. He had to pull the ball down, try and run for it, see if he could make something happen. And linebacker did a good job coming up, covering the play.
Well, there you almost saw a smile on some of the coaching staff of the Wildcats, and they will get the ball with 50 seconds left. Ball sits on Brea's 39-yard line. And stepping in for the Wildcats, Chris Young, hoping to be able to put some more points on the board before the halftime break. Young passes it out to Cervantes.
DJ Dykes on the tackle there. Nice job by DJ. In fact, he made a nice adjustment just before the play went off. He was playing about 6 yards off the line for a cushion. And when he saw that the receiver lined up about 4 or 5 yards behind in the flanker spot, came up immediately to the line of scrimmage so he could be close on him, and paid off big time for Los Al.
Clock continues to run. Maybe we'll get one more play off. We're at 20 seconds as we speak.
Well, I tell you what, if I was the Brea coach right now, I would have told my quarterback, go up to the line, wait till it gets down to about minimum, and take a knee.
Well, they've got all their timeouts left, but at this point, we'll just barely get this next play off. Chris Young, pitch out up. Cervantes, he's going to put it in the air. I'm sure it looked great on paper, but not so good in real life. The intended receiver was Justin Rubel. So for the Wildcats to walk into the locker room only down by 7, I would say you had a successful first half. And for Los Alamitos, they've got to be wondering what adjustments need to be made to come out and widen this lead. Because quite frankly, if you would have asked Coach Barnes his halftime thoughts before the game where they would be, I doubt it would have been this tight. Of course, he's usually tight-lipped about his projections and always respects every team.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, this one's a little surprising.
Yeah, it is. I mean, while John Barnes isn't quite out of the Lou Holtz, I'm playing a Super Bowl champion every week school.
We are going to go downstairs in just a moment to John Bowles. He has an interview on the field. Looks like he's got Coach Barnes all queued up, so we will wait for the call to go downstairs.
Griffin's on top, 14-3. John, a pretty good first half there. Turnover on the punt return, gave him a short field, but other than that, you got to be happy with your defense. Talk about working the offense and finding that continuity you want to find.
Well, I don't think we played well on either side of the ball, to tell you the truth. Sometimes on defense, but we've given up plays. Offensively, yeah, we got to find some rhythm so we can sustain once in a while. Every time we get in a position to make a play, we're not making a play. So.
All right, good luck in the second half. Back to you guys.
Thank you, John Bowles, and we could have predicted that. I mean, this is just not the kind of, and Coach Barnes called it rhythm that he likes to see from his team, and I agree. We've seen some sputtering on both sides of the ball. So they'll have a lot to talk about at halftime, and for Coach Prince, he will have a lot to talk about as they make their halftime adjustments. We will be back with the second half action. There you see it, the score, Los Alamitos 14, Brea 7. For Fritz Pollard, Ron Cluey, and John Bowles. Stay with us. We'll be back with second half action in just a moment.
This edition of the LATV3 Game of the Week is brought to you by the friends and family of the Griffin Football Booster Club. If you're looking for the best barbecue on the planet, you can find it at the Naples Rib Company, serving the Long Beach community for over 20 years. And by...
There can be many hurdles to securing a home loan. Credit impairments, income documentation issues, unusual property. At Home Loan Online, we specialize in mortgages with flexible programs and creative options to address whatever financial situation you're in.
At Home Loan Online, we will meet all of your financing needs.
Visit us on the web or in our offices in Seal Beach on Main Street.
By the College Park Mobile in Seal Beach. For all your automotive needs, stop by the College Park Mobile Station. And by
Selman Chevrolet has been North Orange County's volume leader for over 50 years. We start with the lowest prices. We offer a huge selection of brand new Chevrolets and give you world-class service after the sale. Selman Chevrolet on the corner of Tustin and Chapman, just off the 55 freeway in Orange.
by Farmers and Merchants Bank, California's strongest bank. Call today or stop by our Rossmore branch on Seal Beach Boulevard. And by the Newport Rib Company, home of the best barbecue on the planet, serving the Orange County community for over 20 years.
There are people with a calling. Most serve 1 weekend a month and 2 weeks a year. Earning money for college. Protecting their community. In the Army National Guard, you can.
So many kids' activities today seem to leave out the activity part. New research tells us that just getting children to walk an extra 35 minutes a day could spare them the pain of thinning bones later in life. Encourage your kids to get up, get out, and get moving.
Hello. Hey, Grandma, how about another grape soda?
For more advice on how kids can build strong bones, visit aaos.org.
Welcome back to the Vet. Fritz Pollard, Ron Cluey, John Bowles downstairs. The Griffins on top, 14-7. And Ron, you have some stats for us.
Yeah, halftime stats for Brea. Passing 7 for 12, 56%, 60 yards total for an average of 8.6 yards per pass. Rushing 12 carries, 27 yards, 2.3 yards per carry. Total of 97 yards of offense. For Los Al, 8 for 12, 67%, 130 yards for an average of 16.3 per pass. On the rushing side, 12 rushes for 49 yards, average of 4 yards per carry, total of 179 yards. Looking at the stats, you'd say, boy, you know, Los Al ought to be just dominating this game, but that's not the way it's playing out.
Well, I'd like to thank Steve Leitner, our professional stat man, for keeping us on track here in the first half, and also Paul Herrera for handling our spotting tonight. Wouldn't be possible without them.
Yeah, it's, those guys make us look like we're superstars.
For Los Alamitos, you have to take Coach John Barnes' comments and read a little bit into it. He was not happy with both the offense and the defense, and they are a team known for their second half adjustments. So this ought to be interesting. I'm expecting a little bit quicker pace and, as Coach said, rhythm as they come out here to take the ball. And, of course, in the second half, this is the benefit of deferring in the first half. That's going to be shaken by Chad Dunn, trying to get Randy Estes out in front. And again, you see that speed. Great return there by Chad Dunn.
Yeah, receives the ball on about the 6-yard line, gets out to the 42, 36-yard return. Great run back by Chad Dunn there. Great field position for Los Alamitos.
In on the stop is Sean
LaBerrere,
the kicking.
The kicker.
Yeah. You love to see that. 5'10", 170-pound senior. And you'll see him handling the PATs and field goals. Actually kicked a field goal in week 1. He is 1 for 1 with the 20-yarders. So showing his talents on kick return. Right up the middle goes Rice. And he is stopped by
number 42, Chris Stentz. Stentz does a nice job there. Goes ahead, takes the block head up, stands the offensive lineman up, and then shakes off of him and makes a nice tackle on that play. I tell you what, Brea's D-line's doing a good job of standing up Los Al's O-line right now on the running plays.
Well, and we haven't seen much of adjustment during the halftime. That running play nets out about the same as it's gone all night. Not for much. Maybe picks up 1 on the play. Barnes going to the screen. That's out to Gordon. Gordon fighting forward a yard. It's going to be a couple of yards short of the first down. In on the stop for the Wildcats, Chauncey Fauner and Taylor McMurtry.
Yeah, nice play by Gordon there to get the extra yardage after receiving the ball. That's a play where the tackle basically does a quick 1-second count block and then slips out to try and be the leading blocker for him when he gets downfield. and just developed a little bit quick. I've got to say, Brea's defensive secondary doing a good job of closing quick to the ball. Other than the one big mistake they've had, you've got to say they've done a fairly decent job tonight.
So that'll bring up a 3rd down and 1 for the Griffins. First time tonight we've seen the I formation with Randy Estes, the running back, and Randy stopped short of the 1st down, and he had a full head of steam going in there. So the defensive front for Brea doing a fabulous job.
Yeah, and I've got to say, this is, got to be a little bit disconcerting to the Los Al coaches to see that the O-line is not getting any drive. There's just no push right now. You'd like to see something like a 2 to 3 yard push out and be moving the guys backwards. I mean, you look at it, there is a size advantage on Los Al's part. This I'm surprised to see. Los Al punting when they're on the Brea side of the field with the ball on a short yardage situation.
So Dolis will come in to handle the kicking duties for Los Alamitos, and Brandon McCain will stand on his 9-yard line waiting for the Dolis kick, and that hits the ground. Well, let's see. That's going to be roughing the kicker, but that's interesting because Dolis did all he could do to pick up the ball and try and get it off before he was leveled. So Los Alamitos misfiring.
I'll tell you what, great play by James Dolis to get rid of that ball. I don't know if we get the replay on this, but I tell you what, he fields the ground ball. That's roughing the quick kicker. Okay, we don't have replay. I'll tell you why that's roughing the kicker. He got the ball off, it went past the line of scrimmage, and no one touched the ball. And that's always roughing the kicker. Great play by Dolis.
Well, and you say great play because I think the instinct would have been to pick it up and try and run, and you wonder if the defender didn't assume that that was maybe going to happen before he laid the block on.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I say the fact that Dolis was able to get rid of the ball, and that's what I would have thought too. I mean, when you get one like that that's been just, that bad a snap, I mean, you're right. Your first instinct is just pick it up and start heading, head upfield, see what you can get.
Well, and they only were rushing really one on that. There was another Wildcat in the vicinity, but this is a new breath of life for Los Alamitos. Now they get into Brea territory. They fake the handoff. Barnes overthrows the intended receiver, Gordon.
Yeah, Gordon going deep on that one. But again, Brea with nice coverage, 2 guys on him. I mean, pretty much he was sandwiched in between. One of the things I'm surprised and going to be looking for to see is whether or not they're going to work Jeremy Childs a little bit more in the flat. I'm noticing he's getting single coverage on this side. And with a player of Jeremy's caliber, he should be able to start to exploit that.
2nd down 10, 9:35 left here in the 3rd quarter. Barnes, they're going to hand it off to Chad Dunn. Chad trying to get around the corner. Nice tackle by number 24, Justin Rubel, coming up from his cornerback position to cut Chad Dunn down. And with Dunn's speed, it's dangerous around the corner.
Yeah, here's the replay. I mean, Rubel does a great job on this play. Nice call by Los Al. Run a little bit of a fake, into the line, then make it into a reverse. See if he can freeze up everyone. Here comes Dunn around. He's got a lead blocker there in Espinoza. He comes up. He seals the back block right there. Nice job by Espinoza. You think Dunn's doing it, but there's Rubel. Gets by the outside blocker and comes in and makes the play. Nice play by Brea.
So the question for Los Alamitos after the roughing the kicker call, you're now at 3rd down and 12. Barnes back to the air, plenty of time to throw, and just outside the reach of Gordon diving for the ball, and that will bring up a 4th down.
And looks like we're going for a field goal attempt here. So let's see, this will be a 52-yard attempt by Rossman.
Well, 151 pounds soaking wet, as many have told me. The Torrey Pines transfer had a lot of pressure last week, made the one when it counted. This is up, it is long enough, and it is off of the goalpost. So it had everything looking right, but hit the near side goalpost. So Brooks Rossman had an opportunity to add another 3. Great effort. Just a few inches.
Yeah, the ball had good yardage.
Side.
That would have been good probably from about 58, 59 yards out. But just hits the goalpost. Little things.
Little things make big differences in this game. Well, your hat off to Brea, because here they come out of the break. They get a huge roughing the kicker penalty, giving Los Alamitos the chance, not only that, deep in Brea territory. And now with 8:34 left in the third, Chris Young brings the Wildcats to the line. He's going to go ahead and keep it, and in on the stop there.
Number 92, Chris Cherie. Good job by Cherie again, playing defensive end. Sees it's an option play, comes in, stops after he gets 2 yards deep, waits for the play to develop, and then tackles the ball carrier. Yeah, Fritz, I've got to agree with you. I mean, if Los Al, this is the third game of the season, and your offense is not clicking at this point, the coaches are either going to have to go back, rethink the game plan, or they're going to have to work the guys pretty hard in practice to say, hey, listen, we've got to make this happen.
Young steps in. Looks like we may have had movement on the offensive line, the way the defensive line is celebrating. Let's see.
That's a false start on Brea. Yeah, one of their, the tackle on this side kind of lifted up just a hair.
Well, for Brea, they can't afford to be making these kinds of mistakes. 7:53 here in the third quarter. Brea needing every break that they can get. That'll be a 2nd and 9 for the Wildcats. That wing T formation. That's a handoff. Nice cutback move and all kinds of room. Patty, this is going to be a foot race. Patty Hyman breaks away. Randy Estes may be the only one to catch him. And catches him, but a little too late. Jumps across the goal line. Patty Hyman with the biggest run of his life. The 6'1", 230-pound senior with the touchdown. He's going to need some oxygen.
Oh, yeah.
He spent everything in the gas tank.
Yeah, he's cramping up right now. In fact, he's definitely he's worn out. I'll tell you what. Hopefully, we got the replay on this. Just a nice. I mean, this is a counter dive into the line. You watch this develop right here. He dives in, cuts back. Everybody's coming up on the play, thinking it's going to be a pass play, and he's in open territory, and then it's just turn on the jets. And I'll tell you what, good speed for the running back of that size. Look at that. He's moving everything downfield. Attempt there by Dykes. Estes gets him right there at the end, but he's in the end zone by that time. Excellent play by Brea. I tell you what, again, this is the thing. Little things. You miss a field goal, you turn the ball back over to the other team, and now they've scored.
Well, and we can tell you that it's nothing more than cramps. Patty Hyman, 6'1", 230-pound senior, gave everything that he had to stay out in front. Look, he's a big kid to be running.
Yeah, he's actually more like fullback size, actually, when you think about it. And I think he's a little bit more, 230, 6'1". Yeah, that's a fullback, and even in college. 86-yard run. Great run by Patty Hyman.
Well, and when you look at the replay, once he got 5 yards from the line of scrimmage, he was all by himself. And that's why even the speed of Randy Estes couldn't catch him. Well, the game has completely changed now with Sean LaBerrere ready to tie this one up. Punches it through, and we are all tied up with 7:22 left in the third quarter. And I would venture to say, as you see the man of the hour right there,
I don't think we'll see him on defense this next series.
No. He needs oxygen, he needs water, and he may need his mom, but he certainly has made a game.
Yeah, great job. Well, I'll tell you what, right now, I have a feeling that the Los Al offensive coordinator has got to be going and talking with Coach Barnes and saying, listen, we've got to put a game plan together right now that we can start getting some movement on the ball. Doesn't have to be touchdown every play, but we have to start getting a series of plays where we start moving the ball and controlling the ball game. Because really, that's one of the advantages for Brea right now. No one's controlling the ball game. I mean, you look at the scores that have happened so far. Los Al scores on a turnover. Brea scores on a turnover. Then both of them make big plays, where basically key mistakes are made. Someone misses a play and someone's wide open. This is not what you call right now a game where there's any team dominating.
Well, let me tell you what the scouting report said from Los Al. Best player dash runs well.
He sure does.
they nailed that one. But as you say, and as Patty's on the sideline kind of getting his energy back. He is their middle linebacker and leads the team with 10 tackles. So he may be a loss on defense if he has to sit out too long. Randy Estes changes positions with Chad Dunn, and they're going to give Estes an opportunity to try and make something happen. And he's spun out of bounds.
Gets the ball back to the 30-yard line, about a 28-yard return. Again, still a nice return. I mean, Los-Al, you know, you got to say off the kickoffs, they're starting in good field position. I mean, anytime you can start outside your own 30-yard line, you're in very good field position.
Well, now it's the Griffins' turn, and on the arm of Jimmy Barnes, this is his time to step up and really take control of this offense.
Yeah, the thing I'd like to see here is just a series of short passes, you know, work the ball upfield, get Brea to start biting in on the short passes, and then maybe go for the long one.
Cortez Rice, the lone setback. Going to give it to Rice. Rice puts his head down. Not a lot for Rice all night as he runs into the arm of Patty Hyman, who checks back in, and number 52, Mike Castillo of the Wildcats.
I'm amazed to see Hyman in after that run. I mean, that kid expended a lot of energy on that, but boy, what a ball player. Yeah, again, short gain, 2 yards. You know, this isn't going to set up much.
6:47 left here in the third quarter. Wideouts are split for the Griffins. Barnes looking near side, gets that to Skandrick. May be just short of the first down.
But that's the kind of plays Los-Al needs to start developing. Justin Rubel on the tackle on that one. You know, quick outs. You know, you only need to get 6-7 yards per play. Use the receivers like they're running backs. Just get them quick slants, quick outs. I mean, Brea cannot play up tight on Los-Al's receivers, because if they do, Los-Al's going to go right by them and then go deep on them. So you're going to have the cushion. And, you know, anytime someone gives you cushion, you need to take advantage of it.
Well, and congratulations to Brea. They've done a pretty good job containing those receivers who can be so deadly after the catch. They're going to bring in the chain gang. Scoreboard shows 3rd and 1. It looked like he was just shy of the marker.
Yeah, I'm surprised they're measuring. It didn't look like it was that obvious that they needed to measure it.
So please, take a look at the program and the sponsors that help support this program, and they will...
Los Alamitos will have the bye week next week and then face La Habra. For the Wildcats, they will be taking on Diamond Bar, followed by Chino.
Oh my
California
God.
Whittier.
2 Division II powerhouses. Wow.
Well,
you got to hand it to this Brea coach. I mean, Los-Al, Diamond Bar, Chino. Oh my gosh.
Well, I'll tell you something. They've drawn up a good game plan tonight, and I always love a coach who will take challenging pre-league games, and they tend to excel during league. Look at what Los-Al played. You got a Carson, a La Habra. You know, these teams, Hart, all did very well in league, and I got to say, and maybe St. John Bosco rethinks they're not wanting to change the game. How much more effective would they be in their tough Sarah League by playing an opponent like the Griffins? Well, 3rd down and short, right up the middle, and I'll tell you,
he got it.
Randy Estes, by nothing more than momentum, rolls the pile and picks up the first down.
But Fritz, I tell you, this is the thing I'm seeing. There is no push, no drive on the running plays off the Los-Al O-line. They're doing great on the pass plays, but there's just no push, no drive forward on the run plays right now.
Eric Schumacher in on the stop for the Wildcats. Fresh set of downs, clock at 6 minutes. Barnes fakes it going to the air. That is caught and then fumbled away. Let's see, are they going to say that he had possession? Incomplete pass, and that was to David Montoya. First throw in his direction. Chauncey Fauner knocked that one loose. So for Los Alamitos, that'll bring up a 2nd down.
Yeah, again, this comes back to this continuity issue, though. I mean, it's a short 3-4 yard out pattern, the ball that should have been caught, but now you're ending up 2nd and long instead of being, you know, 2nd and 7.
Barnes going near side. That's going to be to Childs, and they've covered Childs well all night long. quickly closing is Justin Rubel, number 24, and we've called his name a number of times tonight.
Yeah, but you see Taylor McMurtry, he's responsible for covering Childs. And you saw Child started off, McMurtry immediately gave him an 8-yard cushion. Child stops. He's got a 5-yard gap between him and the guy covering him. Easy way to make, 4 or 5 yards on the play. This is what I say. Los Al, if they start using this, sooner or later, Brea is going to say, okay, we want tight coverage, and that's when Los Al can take advantage for a deep ball.
3rd and 5. Barnes dumps it off to Estes. Look out, this could get exciting.
This is gone. Yeah.
Well,
Nice.
They set it up, and perfect. The lineman released. They let those Wildcat defensive linemen in and lobbed it over the head, and that's all you need to do with Randy.
Yeah, and the Los Al O-line did a nice job of setting up for the blocking on that screen. 2 guys got out there. Let's watch the replay on this. Nice setup on the screen. I mean, really let Brea's guys suck in. There, Randy receives the ball, and there you see Espinoza, Rollins are out there. Nice job sealing off, and then Randy's just off to the races. He's gone. Nice lead by number 65 there, Murphy. Good job by Los Al's O-line. Great job by Randy Estes.
Well, that kind of breaks things open for the Griffins, and they needed that. 21-14 after the successful, 21-14. The point was good, and a little bit of breathing room. Now Brea is back on the spot. Can they answer?
But this is part of what Los Al has to do, Fritz. You got to mix it up. I mean, you use the short outs, get them to set up, get them to get used to the idea that, okay, you're going the short patterns, let them come in on the screen pass, send one guy down deep, drag the cornerback safety with him, and then all of a sudden you got a guy off to the races.
Well, and you don't need to give Randy Estes much room, and he can create a lot of excitement. 5:24 left here in the 3rd quarter. Fritz Pollard, Ron Cluey, John Bowles. The homestand kickoff for the Griffins. Brooks Rossman paces off his marker, and back for the Wildcats, McCain. And that one will sail well into the end zone, eliminating a return. In fact, we haven't had a return from the Wildcats all night based on the foot of Rossman.
And Jimmy Barnes doing a nice job in the second half, 4 for 7, 76 yards. That's a pretty good average there. I got to say one thing that's also nice about Rossman, not only does he put him deep, he's putting him high. He's getting hang time on the ball, and that's one of the things, if he's going to play at the next level, he's got to do. Because he'll move back 5 yards and they can run the ball out of the end zone. But if he gets over 4 seconds of time on the ball in the air, he'll allow his guys to get downfield and get coverage.
A great addition for the Griffins. So now it's Chris Young's turn. Well,
boy, everybody jumped.
Yeah, and likely you'd say that may have been against the Griffins.
Yeah, I'm going to say they're probably going to call encroachment first. Although it's hard to tell who's moving where. Boy, about 3 flags went up immediately at the same time. Okay, they're calling false start on the Brea Wildcats. Los Al lucked out on that one. Although, imagine probably if we look at a replay, what we'll see is somebody lifting a hand or something, and that's why Los Al reacted. Because about 4 guys on Los Al went. Yeah.
Well, so for Brea, penalties they cannot afford. Now that'll bring up a 1st down and 15 for Chris Young. So back in a hole plus deep in his own territory. He's going back to the air. Nice coverage. The ball is caught. We have flags, so that's probably going to be pass interference. Antoine Cason was all over Fauner.
Yeah, nice reception, nice pass, but good coverage by Cason. I'd like to see this close up on a replay and see if there really was PI on it. Let's see what the call is here. Yeah, they're calling it against Los Al. Okay, here you see the ball being thrown. Okay, snap. Leonetti coming in, ball thrown.
Yeah, it looks a little early.
Yeah, it looks like he's just starting to get his hand wrapped around it before he receives it. But still, nice job by Fauner to come down with the ball.
So penalties, initially procedure for the Wildcats, and pass interference sends the ball back the other way. Ball now sits on the 30-yard line. We're going to be under 5 minutes when the ball is snapped. Chris Young steps to the line, that wing tee. Now we got flags flying again. You'd think this was the first series of the first quarter.
Yeah, this is false start again. Yeah, it's interesting here because Brea's running single wing. They're not running double wing, double tight, kind of like, you know, the Markham disciples do. Kind of something a lot of people feel. Lusinger runs it very well. Of course, Bloomfield with Markham has always run it well. You know, right now, Brea, 4 penalties, 30 yards total. But what I'm seeing from Brea is really they're coming out more of a West Coast style offense.
Chris Young going to give it to the first man through. And that will be, in on the stop is Cameron Filkins. Looked like the ball carrier there was Chris Rhodes. So Patty Hyman, who has been handling that running back duty all night, is not there. So interesting to see if maybe he's still recovering from that run.
Yeah, I think they're probably giving a little breather. Actually, great job there by Los Al's D-line. You've almost got to say that's a team tackle. Everybody filled their gaps up real nice. Didn't leave the running back any place to run.
Chris Young steps to the line. Rhodes, the single set back. Going to the air, got some time. Gets that over the middle. Nice catch by Kevin Mitchell, the tight end, right over the middle. I'll tell you, those passes aren't pretty, but these receivers are handling them. 5'11", 190-pound senior reels it in. That'll move the chains. Nice pickup there by the Wildcats.
Yeah, and I'm surprised to see, you know, Brea has actually been doing a pretty good job of exploiting those passes in that 8 to 15-yard range. You know, they're not going deep, but they're finding the gaps and the seams. And, you know, between the linebackers and the defensive backs. Like you say, it's not a pretty pass, but you know what? It's effective. It gets to the guy, and he's making yards.
1st and 10. Young fakes it. He's going to keep it. Pitches it out to McCain. And Los Alamitos all over that one, led by Randy Estes.
Yeah, James Dolis out there also. And I think I saw one of the linebackers coming up in that also. Could have been, let's see, Chris Rados or Sean Clark. Good pursuit by Los Al on that play. You know, good coverage all around. One guy takes the running back, another guy takes a quarterback, and another guy takes the first handoff.
2nd down and 13 for the Wildcats. Clock continues to run. We are at 2:34. This running game starting to take some time off the clock. Chris Young fakes it, all over it. Chris Rhodes wrapped up immediately by Chris Rados, number 41, from his linebacker position.
Yeah, that was a nice play by Los Alamitos. In fact, that looked like it was kind of a real slow developing play for Brea. I'll tell you what, I don't know if the center's just slow on the snap or what, but one thing I'm noticing is Los Al's D-line is just jumping quick. I mean, they're into Brea before Brea's offensive linemen are actually starting to get back on their feet and get set. So I know Los Al's D-line is quick, but you know, that's even beyond what you would expect out of that kind of quickness. Something's keying them. They're getting an opportunity to really jump it.
Well, for Brea, they're moving backwards. 3rd down and 16, important. Chris Young's going to the air. They dump it off. Barely back at the line of scrimmage. Breaks a tackle is Rhodes, and just too many red shirts to evade there. So maybe
loss of maybe half a yard on that play.
Yeah, maybe gets back to the original line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
Dolis.
Yeah, Dolis had a shot on tackling me real deep, but Rhodes did a good job breaking that one, got to the outside, but 4 or 5 red shirts there waiting for him. Great play by Los Alamitos, and this should be a good opportunity to have some nice field position.
Well, and Mentor steps back. Randy Estes, the up back. Mentor needs a chance to redeem himself. And Greg Woldneck steps in. He stands on his 20-yard line. Mentor makes quite sure he catches this one on the 26-yard line. Another nice punt there by Woldnick.
Excellent punt by Woldnick. I mean, it's basically what's called an unreturnable ball. Stays up in the air long enough.
Great
His
hang
guys
time
down there cover it. Yeah, hang time. I mean, it's not a 48, 50-yard punt, but I tell you what, it's a 40, 42-yard punt, no return. Any coach will be happy to have that kind of average coming out of his punter.
Averaging 32 on the season, and when I say on the season, that was the one game last week.
We have a flag on the play, Fritz. Illegal motion.
Wow, the penalties have really caught the Wildcats off guard. Of course, Los Alamitos has not been immune from it either, but for Brea, they cannot afford to have these kinds of mistakes and stay in this game.
Yeah, I think what they called it on was the fact that the gunner was outside. 5 penalties after for Brea. Yeah, the gunner outside, number 24, came in, but he didn't set before the ball was snapped. So that's an illegal motion.
Well, for Woldnick, he gets another opportunity to show what he's worth. And not something you want to do, giving Mentor another chance for a return. And he will take an opportunity. Well, no, they'll down that there at the 20, is that 24-yard line?
23-yard line, 46-yard punt, no
Not
return.
bad.
Woldnick, I tell you what, the kid's doing a great job tonight. Great job.
In fact, the penalty, did that help their cause?
Yeah, he actually got the ball a few yards further. Well, you got to say the coaches have got to be looking at it going, listen, the punter for Brea averaged 33 yards his previous game. You got to play the statistics at this point.
Well, that'll bring up 1st and 10. 31 seconds left here in the third quarter. Barnes throws it out. Screen, has some room. Along the sideline, nice pickup there by number 3, Gordon.
Brian Gordon, just a nice little quick bubble screen. Again, it's another play. Jimmy Barnes, real fast, snappy pass to the outside. That's what makes a bubble screen work. You've got to fire that ball. In fact, you got to throw that ball just about as hard as you possibly can, because a bubble screen, you don't have a chance to get any blockers really in front of you. You've only got one guy, and so you have to get the ball out there quick so nobody else from the defense can close on the play. Good play by Los Al.
David Fullerton pushing Gordon out of bounds. Barnes now going to the other side, fakes, steps up, going to go all the way. He's got Childs, overthrows Childs, and quite frankly, that was just a airmail that one as far out as you can.
Okay.
Great coverage though by number 24, Justin Rubel. So Childs wasn't in any position to be catching a long bomb like that.
But Jimmy's got to start looking at his other receivers. If we got it on replay, I don't know if we have a wide angle. Orlando Skandrick was absolutely wide open across the middle of the field at 15 yards downfield. Jimmy pump faked once, everyone bit, and I mean Orlando was wide open. You got to look for that opportunity. You can't always go for the home run.
2nd down and 10. They're going to give it to Estes. Estes picks up a couple.
Boy, again, I'll tell you what, you got 3 white shirts in there coming through 2 red shirts on the offensive line. I have a feeling Coach Bowman's going to be doing a little bit of work with the O-line this upcoming week on when we do run blocking, we have to drive people out. We can't let them come into us. Barnes this half, 5 for 9, 96 yards. Very respectable stats.
Well, that brings the third quarter to a close. There you see it, 21-14. Los Alamitos with the ball. Closer game than I'm sure anyone would have thought, but hats off to Brea for a good game plan. And for the remaining 12 minutes, Coach Barnes and his offense intend to add to that. And there we are down at the far end. There you have the brain trust of the Los Alamitos Griffins working their seeds. The coaches here, and there we are, high above at Long Beach Vets Memorial Stadium. We were just talking about how nice these facilities are for rain games.
Yeah.
Having stood out in the rain at Bishop Amant on that semifinal game there, and I'll tell you, great football, but in the driving rain at a subpar field, not a way to spend an evening.
Yeah, here's a very telling stat for Los Al this half. 0 yards rushing in the third quarter.
Well, look out, Jeremy Childs. Breaking tackles. This go. Oh, nice catch there, Brea. game-saving Johnny Yazdi.
Again, nice quick slip screen pass, and Jeremy Childs with great second and third effort on this play. Gets downfield all the way to about the 23-yard line. Here's the replay. Okay, we lost it. Back to live action.
First down and 10, Barnes. Now he goes to Gordon on the near side. Gordon picks up a block.
Again, real nice quick bubble screen. Yep. Tackle on that, Chauncey Fauner and Patty Hyman. But again, Losell exploiting the fact that Brea is leaving a big cushion with their cornerbacks. And they have to be honest, because if they try to play tight man-to-man, I have a feeling that you're going to see that either Childs or Gordon is just going to run right by the cornerback.
Well, and you get the feeling that Jimmy Barnes is feeling more comfortable with that pass, thus the pickup in momentum and pace. He's snapping the ball and getting rid of it.
We have a fumble on the play, possibly, because I saw a marker go down. Los Alamitos got lucky, recovered it. Again, the run game, not generating any energy, not generating any momentum. This was one of the things that was talked about this year that was going to be possibly a real advantage for Los Alamitos with both Randy Estes, the transfer in of Cortez Rice, and to be honest, with Daniel Smalls coming up from the JVs. People felt that Los Al would have a powerful running game, but not seeing it yet.
Barnes going to the corner for Childs and way overthrows that one. Tight coverage there on Childs. So you see flashes of brilliance and then kind of back to sputtering, and there you see the father-son.
Well, but one thing you have to remember, this is a junior quarterback.
Yep.
Third game he's playing. This is a big step up from JV. I mean, Jimmy had a great year last year with the JV team, the whole JV team, but it's a big step up when you play at the varsity.
Well, and not the easiest offense in the world to run either. I mean, there's a lot to it. And that's a snap over the head. Jimmy Barnes will do all he can to get on that, and he loses the handle, and Brea recovers. So things going from positive to negative right before our eyes.
Yeah, watch the replay on this. This wasn't that bad a snap. It's a little high. Oh, Los Alamitos lucked out and recovered the ball, but I tell you what, Jimmy lets it slip through his hands, hustles back to try and get the ball, tries to pick it up a little bit. Brea doesn't. There's where Los Al got the opportunity, and great effort by number 71, Mike Aguayo, to dive in there and grab the ball. Boy, that's what they teach those O-linemen. They say when the ball's on the ground, get in there, start grabbing, and use every bit of muscle you got to yank that ball away.
Well, Mike Aguayo owes a combination of John McDaniel and Jimmy Barnes a dinner out because he saved the day. That would have been huge for Brea.
Yep.
Barnes going right back to the air.
And that looks like interception.
Off. Justin Rubel with the interception. So a near turnover turns into a absolutely no question about it turnover. The 6-foot, 175-pound cornerback climbs the ladder and takes it away. Can't speak too much for the field position, but at this point with 9:48 left in this game, Brea staying in it.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, when you have 1st and 10 from the 14-yard line, you end up with a bad, a combination, not a bad snap, but poor snap, but missed reception by the quarterback, ending up with about a 25-yard loss, and then you end up with a interception. This has got to be something that is driving Coach Barnes and the coaching staff nuts right now, because these are the kind of mistakes they expect that have been worked out of the system at this point.
Brea going to keep it on the ground, going to Hyman.
Nice tackle there by Chris Cherie. Again, I can't repeat it enough. When you have a defensive end that's smart, plays his position right, stays home, doesn't try to follow the play, just covers the area he's supposed to cover, he makes a lot of good plays happen.
9:23 left. Los Alamitos up by 7. Ball sits on the 3-yard line.
This is where Los Al needs to really make something happen. Stop Brea, force them to stay deep in their own territory.
Gets out across the 5-yard line.
Okay, if we get a replay on this, I'd like to point something out because Los Al is using a pretty unique defensive set on the D-line here.
Sean Clark in on the stop for the Griffins. Ball now sits on the 6-yard line. Ball carrier Patty Hyman.
One thing you'll see Los Al uses a stacked line on the left-hand side. Basically, it's an unbalanced defensive line. 3 guys on the left, 1 guy on the right. And what I've noticed is every time Brea comes out in that set where they have the tailback to that side with the tight end, Los Al is also going unbalanced on that side. Again, right here.
They're doing it again. Chris Young going to the air. Lobs it up. All kinds of contact there on Fauner, and that's going to probably be
there's no doubt. That is pass interference.
I mean, they look like they were dancing.
Yeah, you cannot stiff arm a receiver when the ball's in the air. That's just not allowed.
Well, and the ball was not well thrown in the first place, and I don't know what was up with the route, but that caused some of the problem.
In fact, I'm not sure if the referees right now aren't discussing if that's an uncatchable ball. No, they're going to give it to him. I'm not sure. I can't remember if high school does have the uncatchable ball rule.
Let's take a look at it.
Okay, here you see the fake into the line. Freezes up a few people. No, that's a previous play. Okay, we're working out a few bugs too.
21-yard line is where they'll place the ball. First down for Brea. Well, there remains to be life at 8:19 left in this game for the Wildcats. Wideouts are split. They give it to Cervantes. Cervantes bounces it outside, picks up a block, still on his feet.
Oh, great crackback block by Brea there. And in fact, one of the Los Al players is hurt.
That's DJ Dykes on the far side. He's the one that took the brunt of that. He's holding his hand. Tom Cervantes, they've been swapping him in and out with Patty Hyman. And DJ Dykes is down.
Yeah, it's, don't know if he took a helmet on the hand or what there.
Now he's, oh man, he is in pain. He's now up on all fours, as you can see.
No, his hands and arms look okay. I know where the helmet hit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, DJ's trying to catch his wind right now.
Yeah,
okay,
he
watch
got
this.
blindsided.
Yeah. Here you see Dykes starting to chase the play, and boom! Yeah, he got the wind knocked out of him. Yeah. Good, that was good, clean block by Brea's receiver on that play, and nice play there. Gained 5 yards, kind of strung it out. But I tell you what, that's indicative. Brea has brought the game to play tonight. You know, they're not rolling over for anybody.
Well, the clock continues to run, 7:53. You can bet if they keep this drive alive, they're going to run a lot of clock and, of course, control the clock. Pass over the middle, almost picked off. Randy Estes covering McCain.
Boy, I bet you Randy would like to have that one back again because that hit him right in the hands. I will say one thing, and not being a homer or anything like this, but I don't know if the referees are calling holding tonight. I'm seeing a lot of jerseys being pulled away, a lot of arms being pulled back on the defensive line. It's on the interior line. Usually you can get away with it there, but it just seems there's a lot of it going on, more than I would expect to see. Brea passing 3 for 4, 23 yards.
Cervantes, the lone setback. Oh, nice hit there by Antoine Cason, intended receiver.
Number 24.
Justin Rubel.
Yeah, that was a great play by Cason because Rubel had that catch and Cason just came up and stuck him. In fact, that's one of the things that a lot of colleges are liking about Anton. You know, it's not just the fact that he's got a lot of good speed and he's good coverage. It's the fact he'll come up and, I mean, he'll hit. You know, and that's what you want to see in secondary at the college level. Guys that'll just lay the wood on somebody.
Well, Greg Woldneck had a lot of activity tonight. Stands on his 10-yard line. Back deep for Los Alamitos' mentor. Another nice punt by Woldneck. Right
Great
there,
punt.
31-yard line.
Yep, 43-yard punt. let's see, 31, 20, yeah, 43-yard punt. And I'll tell you what, again, it's another unreturnable ball. I don't think he's had one ball returned on him tonight.
Great hang time, giving those defenders a chance to get down and surround. So 7:28 left in this game. Los Alamitos up by 7. So they're going to give it to him on the 32-yard line.
Okay.
Important for Jimmy to get back on track through the interception on the last series. Nice little quick hitter out there to Childs. Some of those high percentage passes you were talking about all game long.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the stats, Jimmy's got a nice completion percentage. You know, and that's the thing. Why try to go for the home run every time? I know that's in the, you know, it's the strategy of the Los Al coaches over the years, everything else, but you know what? You're trying to get your quarterback broken in, get him comfortable with the game. Hey, let him make those 5, 8-yard passes.
Bring up second down. Nice running play there. Cortez Rice, his best run of the evening, gets across the Wildcats' 45-yard line.
Nice play by Rice there. Basically, that wasn't a counter play. He was starting out to the right-hand side, saw that the holes were filled. David Fullerton coming in and making the tackle on that play, but Rice took what kind of developed into a broken play and made a very, very nice gain off of that.
Now Griffins could put this game away by taking time off the clock and putting up a score. Montoya, the man in motion. They're going to give it to Cortez Rice again. Why not? Another nice gainer. So the running game finally opening up. We haven't seen it for 3 quarters. Now all of a sudden there's some nice holes there. David Fullerton in on the stop again.
Yeah, Los Al taking advantage right now of doing a little bit of draw play. You know, letting the rushers come in hard. They're seeing that the offensive line's not getting any drive, so the other way to do it is make like you're pretending you're going to pass the ball and then let the hole open up in front of the runner and go for it. Only thing you got to watch out for here is that Brea brings a linebacker who's Patty Hyman, who we've already seen is playing pretty well, brings him in to fill that hole.
Now under 6 minutes left in the contest. That's out to Gordon. And Gordon walking the tightrope in a huge hit.
Kirk, you've got to tell me you got the replay on this one. Dan Rollins just destroyed the Brea player on that play. I think it was Johnny Yazdi. I mean, Rollins just comes out, and I tell you what, Gordon does a great job waiting for his blocker to get out in front of him, but Rollins just hits him. Let's watch this play develop. Here comes the pass out. Here you see Gordon catches the ball. Instead of turning upfield real quick, now you see Rollins coming there. He waits for Rollins, and boom! That is what you call a meat grinder.
Well, and Dan Rollins, 6'5", 275-pound senior. He doesn't have to do more than just touch you, and you're going to feel it.
Yeah, I'm sure Yazdi was wondering what was the number on that semi-truck.
Well, and he's still not...
no, they're still asking him how many fingers they're holding up in front of him.
Referee came over to make sure he was okay. First down and 10 for the Griffins, driving. Jimmy Barnes going to keep it. Here he goes. Rumbling and stumbling out to the 5-yard line.
Here we go again.
David Fullerton in on the stop. And I'll tell you what, he sells the fake unbelievably, and still these defenses are not keen on him, and it buys him 5 yards.
Yeah, here we go on the replay. I mean, well, it's like Coach Gene Volnagel always used to say, hey, if it works, keep doing it until they stop you, and it's working. Nobody expects Jimmy to run it, and you know what? Jimmy actually is getting a decent turn of speed on this one.
Yeah, he's turning it up.
Yeah, I mean, I have a feeling, you know, you give him another year of conditioning, gets a little older, gets a little stronger. You know, obviously he's not going to be like a Jeff Klein last year who could really break a play and sprint upfield, but he's going to have a decent set of foot speed for a big quarterback.
221 pounds as a junior, moving like a gazelle. Griffins go right up the middle, get across the 5-yard line.
Yeah, that time you had penetration on the backside by the Brea D-line. Did a good job there.
Adam Kennedy Moore in on the stop for Brea. They'll mark the ball on the 4-yard line. 4:43 left in this game. And by sheer fact of being deep in the Wildcats territory and little time on the clock, The Griffins can punch it in here. It's going to be very tough. Going to the air, tip. Oh, nice cover there by Fauner.
Yeah, I don't think Jimmy realized that Fauner had stepped right into the passing lane on that one. He was looking downfield. He saw that he had a receiver open in a lane, but what he wasn't looking for was the fact that he also had a defensive player standing right there ready to step in. Very lucky that wasn't intercepted and run all the way
back. Yeah, it would have
back.
gone back almost the whole way. And I'm sure Coach Barnes is sharing that with his son. 4:25, 3rd down and 4. Important score here for the Griffins. If they can put 7 on the board, this thing is all but out of reach. But they've got to finish. They're going to give it to their big finish guy. Randy Estes caught in the backfield. Nice stop there by number 21, Tommy Cervantes again.
Yeah, that was a quick pitch toss out to Estes, and I'll tell you what, nice play by Brea, bringing up the backers and the defensive backs to fill that gap area in there.
Well, now they're going to bring out Brooks Rossman for what would appear to be just the chip shot.
Yeah, basically this is a 27-yard field goal. Should be an automatic.
Well, a little trouble with the snap there, but ball is up and it is good. So we've got a 24-14 game. And again, you look at the small things. Brea using their defense, taking the big play away, and allowing themselves a chance with 3:43 left in this game. Need 2 scores.
Yeah, 2 scores to
tie it up. And at this point, you know, anything is possible, but they've certainly given themselves a chance.
Well, I'll tell you what,
competitive.
With the way Los Al's offense is moving right now and the fact that the O-line is not getting much push on the D-line, I hate to think about Esperanza because that's a defense that knows Los Al's O and plays against it very, very, very well.
Well, and with the exception of that huge run, and anything is possible in the 3rd quarter by Patty Hyman, unfortunately, the Wildcats don't have quick strike capability, but they need to open things up if they want to generate 2 scores here with 3:43 left in the game.
Yeah, Los Al this half, 9 for 16, 151 yards passing, rushing 48 yards. Kickoff here. Rossman again, deep in the end zone. Again, Fritz, it's something you look at and you say, gosh, 199 yards in the second half, 179 yards in the first half. What's the problem?
Yeah.
Well, it's all between the 20s or the 30s. I mean, wasted scoring opportunities.
Well, and one of the things Coach Barnes said yesterday at practice is let's finish. Let's finish every play. Let's finish every tackle and every drive, and that has not happened tonight. Sean Labarere takes it in the end zone. Ball comes out to the 20. And for Chris Young, 2nd game of the season with 3:43 left, down by 10, needs to move the ball quickly and watch that clock. And there's a nice little opening to get things started. They give the ball to Chris Rhodes. And that middle is now open. That reminds me of the beginning of what was Patty Hyman's big run. Big hole up the middle.
Yeah, and you have to wonder where the middle linebacker was on that play because really that was Sean Clark's play to make. You know, the defensive linemen are supposed to fill the gaps on that play. Middle linebacker comes up, makes the tackle. And Brea did a nice job getting out and sealing off the middle linebacker on that play. It's a 10-yard run, but I tell you what, Brea's got to move the ball quicker in this if they're going to try and think about seriously taking a lead in this game.
See if they go to the air. Well, Dolis is all over any thought about going to the air, and he came off that blind side and got Chris Young.
Yeah, great play here by James Dolis. Just speed rushed right by his guy. Let's watch the replay on this. Brea trying to set up for the pass. You see Dolis on the outside. And, I mean, he just cuts right in the gap. Oh, great play. In fact, that's a real nice